Hey there, Ron Sullivan, your online hitting consultant. I want to talk a little bit today about the compensations that kids use because they don't understand what the top hand arm is supposed to do. The back side of our body plays a tremendous role in our ability to, number one, make adjustments. The hand that's closest to the barrel doesn't know what to do. You're going to scratch your head a lot and go, wow, man, I feel like we're doing the right thing, but we're just not getting the results. They have to understand that this mechanism plays a crucial role in not only power, potential, I think, but also their ability to make adjustments. And what kids do are compensations for the fact that they don't understand this mechanism. This is my opinion, of course, but what kids often do is they use the front side of their body. We often talk about my kids pulling off the ball and so forth, or they're stepping, even the players that are stepping out, right? A lot of this stuff is a compensation. It helps players feel at times that they're going to be able to move the bat faster. The more that they can engage their front side to start opening up, they're compensating for the fact that this mechanism back behind them doesn't understand what's going on. So we use the front side to get the back side to catch up. In my opinion, this energy that young players create to swing the bat is backwards. So the front side of the body, in a good swing, will respond to what the back side is telling it to do. And I think easy proof for this is if you watch players hit an inside pitch and you watch players hit an outside pitch, good players, you'll see that they're able to stay on the outside pitch, whereas kids have a very difficult time with that. Why? Because their engine, the main engine for a player, is the front side creating energy for the backside. This is drag, in my opinion. When you use the front side of your body to move the backside, in some of the videos, I have no doubt it would be translated to this to a certain degree, because what do we point out as a characteristic of drag for young players? The elbow coming underneath, and leading the knob of the bat, kind of getting out in front of the belly button, all twisted up, and they look like it's like the spaghetti effect, I call it. But the reality is that the elbow coming down ultimately is not a problem. That's not the problem. So once a month, somebody will send me video of Giancarlo Stanton on a Zepp commercial where it's this, the across the plate view, and you see his elbow come underneath and kind of lead the knob of the bat. I've never thought that an elbow coming down is a problem. In fact, if you steer the elbow behind the bat, you're going to have just as many problems as a young player that drags the elbow underneath. What Giancarlo Stanton has no problem with is his understanding of what the top hand arm is supposed to do. He's not dragging his backside with his front side. That's drag. So ultimately, what's the problem with kids? Is it the elbow coming underneath? No. The main problem is that their top hand arm is late. It doesn't know what to do. It doesn't know where to go. And so we sometimes develop patterns and habits. Like as dads, we see the elbow coming underneath. What do we tell them? Hey, don't let your elbow come down. So we could try to get them to steer the elbow behind the hands. Well, that creates it's the same issue. Ultimately, the top hand arm is late. I'm just turning my backside because my front side's saying, hey, go. The top hand arm's not moving, so I have to use my front side to help move my backside. Unfortunately, some people would say, oh, this is a good approach. No, not when your contact point was right here, right out here somewhere, and your body has to keep turning to get the top hand arm to catch up, right? Your top hand arm ultimately is going to be late. And so this is why kids get contact that goes this way all the time, because their top hand arm is late in the process. If you're trying to get your player to steer the elbow behind the knob of the bat, I would tell you to be very careful. What we have to teach players to do is we have to teach them what the point of the top hand arm is. And this is what we do in top hand arm therapy. We work on the direction. We exaggerate certain feelings to get a player to think, oh, instead of turning my top hand arm all the way around, I can go right to where I need to go. If you're ever going to be able to work short with a mechanism, you better know how to do it with the one that's closest to the barrel. If you don't understand that, if you're always turning your body to turn your top hand arm, you're going to have a hard time making adjustments in this game. That's just a fact. When we're front side dominant, when my front side has to move my backside, there's going to be problems down the road, especially when you go to the big diamond. The reason why kids do this is actually it's very intelligent. They don't know what to do with this mechanism. They're using their front side to create energy. If no energy is being created back here to move the bat, you have to borrow from the front side. So if you're yelling at your kid for pulling the front side out, make sure that you're telling them how to use the back side. But don't just tell them not to pull their shoulder out if you don't understand why they're not moving or why they're moving the front shoulder out. So the other thing is arm barring. Now I know I only have one hand on the bat here, and I'm going to show another example here in just a second. But an arm bar is a blessing for young players rather than a curse. And we oftentimes will say, oh, I got to fix my kid's arm bar. And the arm bar for young players is a compensation for the fact that they have no backside driving. And if you take away an arm bar from a player that has no backside driving, you're going to have a player that has zero bat speed and no way to hit a ball hard. So they use that because they're extending the arm back to create more leverage for the barrel, because this arm's not creating leverage for the barrel. It's not driving the barrel, so this arm takes over. It's on the front side, and it has to help. This arm bar is going to create more extension and leverage for a front side that's dragging the backside. It's going to create more bat speed. Now, is it right mechanically? No, but it's a smart move that kids make. And so you can yell at them about their front side opening, and you can yell at them about their arm bar, but if you really want to be responsible, you recognize, oh, it's because they don't understand what the backside mechanism is supposed to do, and then take that approach. So here's another view of a demonstration of the proper energy in an isolated drill like this. I'm obviously on a knee here. That's for what we do in the therapy a little bit. But what I'm trying to get players to understand is that my front side is going to move. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and play this all the way through. We'll go all the way to what we call our checkpoints in the drill. Now my torso rotated over 90 degrees. My goal in top hand arm therapy is not to demonstrate that the body doesn't move. Hey, your front side can't move. What my goal is with players and young players is to help them understand that the front side is going to move, but it's secondary to the back side. The front side is a response to where the backside says it has to go. This is going to make a tremendous difference in your player's ability to hit an outside pitch. If your player takes this approach, what do we hear all the time? He can't hit the outside pitch. She can't hit the outside pitch. Well, if your front side is moving the bat, the 17.5-inch plate is going to look 3 feet wide for these players, because these are the players that stick their butt out to try to reach for the outside pitch, and it's only 17.5 inches to the other side of the plate. But if I have this approach where the front side creates the energy for the backside, you've shortened your range of motion through the zone. It's just not going to happen very well for you. And this is why kids that learn approaches that say turn your body and turn your front side, they can do a decent job of commanding inner half. And but when they get to a point where kids can command the zone, pitchers start growing up. They're grown men or young ladies. They can throw harder. They can hit their spots. And these kids get eaten alive. And so eventually, here in Texas anyways, they stop playing baseball at about 13 or 14 because they say baseball's boring. Well, they never learned fundamentally how to hit. So what you want to train your player to do is to have more of an understanding that their front side is going to move, but it's going to be because the backside is saying, number one, let's say I've got to move really short to this inside pitch to get the good part of the bat on the ball. My body's going to move a lot. Now I'm going to move to the other side of the plate. If my front side wants to go that way, I'm doomed. So this is why it's really important. Try to teach your player the proper balancing act here, is that their front side is going to move as a response to what the backside is doing, but you can't do this backwards. In other words, you can't just tell them this. If they don't understand what the purpose of the top hand arm is, then you're going to struggle. They're going to struggle with this idea. So for those of you that like more information on top hand arm therapy, you're welcome to send me an email at ronsullivan99@gmail.com. We'll send you back some information about the program. Thanks again for joining me. Ron Sullivan, your online hitting consultant.